Welcome to Bullet Points. We've got an incredible show, and check out those sweet-ass graphics. Judd, what is bullet point number one?
Bullet point number one, Michael Loftus. Trump tweet Dem debate.
Wahoo! Bullet point number two.
Make Mexico great again, Michael Loftus.
We should. Bullet point number three.
Google censorship.
Bullet point number four.
Oregon Center MIA.
I think this calls for a bullet point number five.
There we go. Big Supreme Court ruling.
We got all that. We got a wild card. We'll be right back after this little package. That's what they called me in high school.
Little package.
Little package.
That's my Native American name.
We've got a wonderful show. We got 5 big topics. We got 2 minutes per topic.
2 minutes per topic.
And I'm telling you right now, Judd Dunning, I am cracking the whip. We're gonna stay close to time.
I like it. Use my first and my last name. It's authoritative. It's powerful, Michael
That's
Loftus.
right. You're in trouble. Like, Judd Dunning, get in this house. You gotta shoot an episode of Bullet
I paid
Points.
my taxes.
Let's start. Bullet point number one. What's the title of this one?
Okay, the title of this one is the Trump Dem debate. Live tweet storm is a brewing.
Wow, you love those.
I love the
What he's trying to say is Trump's thinking about live tweeting the Democratic debate. All right, put 2 minutes on
less
the clock.
pentameter is the way you said that.
Put 2 minutes on the clock. Let's commence discussing.
Okay, let's commence discussing. So everybody arrived in Miami today. We're actually taping this in the evening before the next day.
That's right.
The passage of time. The top 20 Democratic debates, June 26th, 27th. They're going to be 10 tomorrow in Miami. And Trump, it was suggested by the Wall Street Journal, they actually leaked it originally, he was going to live tweet. And their strategies are completely changing on not only what they're saying, but how are they going to react to the president. And then Hannity brought it up and said, you should do it. You should. And Trump was like, maybe I will do it. So there we are.
Okay, I am hoping and praying. We'll see what happens, because we're taping this the night before. I'm hoping and praying that he doesn't do it. I really
do it.
I want him not to tweet. I want those Democrats up there going at each other, going after this guy, arguing, fighting, and I want to see what their ratings are like, and then Trump can step in for the second debate and go, all right, losers, here we go. And in a perfect world, they would have to react to his tweet. That would be the ultimate puppet master. That would be the
Excuse me.
right in the middle. Like, somebody's like, okay, the president wants to know this. Yeah. That'd be the best.
We have a remote caller calling in on YouTube. Hey, Pocahontas.
Can you imagine if Rachel Maddow or whoever's, it's like Rachel Maddow and Chuck Todd are moderating this thing. It's going to be just a softball. How awesome would you be as president?
Right.
That's the kind of questions they're going to ask. But it'd be great if they go, oh, okay, the president wants to know, what's up with that big fat head, Buttigieg?
That's right.
Do you think you have a big fat head?
What do you think there, Alfred E. Newman, right? Because he has all these names.
That's hilarious.
That's funny, right?
I love the nickname.
Right.
Pocahontas.
How many millennials do you think actually knew Alfred E. Newman is from Mad
They
magazine?
all do now.
Oh, really?
Because they put him on the cover.
Oh my God, the
Mad
stuff
magazine put him on the cover.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Sleepy Creepy Joe, Pocahontas. So what is there? So let's say hypothetically he does tweet. They say coining new nicknames, saying the shocking, feeding infighting, and throwing shade at other Republicans and celebrating his accomplishments. So the strategy is, if he does it, that they say he's got a strategy.
It's such a sledgehammer. It's such a wrecking ball. I want him to really be careful. If he does it on the first debate, then does he have to do it on the second one? Or, I don't know. First, how
about just his accomplishments? Just thinking about how great I am. I mean, what if he just underplayed it?
I think he has to let the first debate go. Just let them fight each other and then step in.
It could I mean, the other thing, too, is it could be grabbed in racism, homophobicism. Homophobicism? I don't know.
No matter what Trump says, it's going to be homophobicism. Or whatever the word is you just made up.
The extra syllable really makes it powerful.
It's going to be bad, whatever he says.
Yeah.
I would let the Democrats fight. Let them go. Then we'll have a much better insight in the next 2 days as to who the real front runner is going to be.
Let's take a bet. I bet that I think he's going to do it. Let's see on the next show. You think he's not going to do it?
I hope he does.
Okay.
I hope he does.
Topic 2.
Boom. What do we got?
We are moving on, Michael Loftus. Make Mexico great again. So let's talk about that. You ready to put 2 minutes on the clock?
I will.
Boom.
Mexico's putting 15,000 troops on the border.
Right.
On their border with us.
Yeah, 2,000 miles from our entire border. Now, what's interesting is actually they think it was a tariff trade to an earlier document that they had. So he moved in 6,000, he expanded it to 15, and they've actually set up a number. But it's their new statement is remain in Mexico. It's kind of authoritative. It's authoritative. It's not
Remain in Mexico.
Right, and apparently people are like, oh, look at these struggling Mexicans unable to claim asylum from these Mexicans from the Honduras, Guatemala, etc. So I think it's fantastic, and it shows the synergy that people thought was never possible.
I think it's great that Trump used tariffs to get Mexico to protect the border.
They're going to build that wall.
Isn't it crazy?
Right?
In a weird way, they're starting to pay for the wall.
Yeah.
They're starting to pay for the wall.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to spend seriously, what's the payout on 15,000 Mexican troops?
Right?
How much does that cost?
Right, exactly.
Like $10?
A lot of pesos.
15?
Devalued. It's great.
No, I think it is wonderful. They got to listen. They got to protect their border to the south of Mexico.
Right. They were actually going to do 6,000 on the south, and they brought 15 to the north.
You need them on both sides.
They instituted this, and they said it was just a few days, June 7th, that he cut the deal. It's like June 25th right now. So, but it's interesting because at the same time, our Congress is pushing through a $4.5 billion humanitarian aid package, just as they found some young father and his kid dead in the river, a bunch of kids in subs conditions. Those conditions existed before Trump. I mean, Americans are taking care of their side of the border, and Mexicans are taking care of theirs now. I think it's fantastic. All because Trump is pushing through immigration.
Yes, the detention centers are overwhelmed. There's way too many people trying to get across into our country at the same time. If you have a problem with the detention centers, we need a bigger detention center. One, I don't know, the size of a giant wall.
All right, booyah.
Oh, it's a delightful time. We got bullet point number 3.
Bullet point number 3.
We're like greyhounds racing for a robot rabbit.
Can we break 20? Let's break 20.
Okay, this is Google, and they got busted. Well, allegedly. There's some undercover Google executives saying some stuff to Project Veritas. I did a little article about this the other day on the loftusparty.com. I had a link to Project Veritas's YouTube YouTube video. YouTube took that down. It took like an hour for them to take it down. This is terrifying. We were going to put 2
minutes on the clock, producer. Boom.
Now, we used that little matrix. That we have that little GIF, whatever you call it. we had that made because it is like the Matrix.
It is like the
Matrix.
Matrix.
Is what Google is doing here, or they're alleged to have done. They're changing search results, and Google owns YouTube, and they are dialing down voices on the right, conservative voices, and other guys like Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson, and channels like the Loftus Party on YouTube. They're just dialing down the results. So if you don't see it, it's not real, and it doesn't happen. Like if you look up Hillary Clinton email scandal, not a lot is going to pop up.
It's like going to the library, right? We used to go to the library, we find the books. Now they direct the books in the library.
Exactly, but that's a great metaphor.
Right.
But if you go into the library and someone has removed the book, then you go, oh, I guess that book doesn't exist.
The whole library's Howard Zinn now.
Right?
It's true.
But if the library, this is great. If Google's library, if YouTube's library is all their agenda, and that's all you're going to see, they're steering the results. They're steering society, and that is crazy. That is some serious. Big Brother is real.
Because they just showed that muted voice, that employee, that insider.
They got several employees on tape.
Through Veritas.
Yeah.
It's Google's trust and safety team using algorithmic unfairness.
Yes.
So then they're trying to protect people from being sufficiently marginalized. But they're making all the ethics for our entire society in one corporation with 130 billion, 100,000 people dominating our society.
It's very crazy. And then they say, well, all we're doing is trying to get rid of hate speech. They're going to wrap themselves up in that big blanket. All we're trying to do is get rid of hate speech. But who decides what hate speech is, right? You got to take emotion
hate speech is free speech.
Out of this. And like people are going to go, oh, Google's a private company, but it's too big, it's too big, it's too big. It's like if I'm on my telephone, right, and I'm like, oh, and I say something that someone might be offended by, Verizon doesn't cut off my phone service. And that's what Google and YouTube are doing right now. They're saying, you've said something offensive.
Instead of listening to your conversation, they're listening to your dialogue.
Yes, and they're just taking you off the platform.
That's how I feel every time I log on Google.
It is. It's a terrifying
It's really,
notion.
and it also obstructs free speech. I mean, we're both conservatives. It's not optimal to try to market through Google and the web anymore. Shall overcome.
They've got artificial intelligence. They have AI that listens and that reads the text. They're not so good at listening, but they can definitely read the text. And if you put certain keywords in your video, boom, you're done,
I'm just going to leave with this one thing. It says, he said, they needed to avoid the next Trump situation, which is the real catchword. It's not only that, it's meddling in elections. So whenever you Google, it's fake news now. Googling is fake news. You gotta get multiple sources at the same time to trust yourself.
I think the government has to step in now. The government has to step in and make sure there's no funny business. Okay.
Boom.
Bullet point number 4.
There we go. Where's our bullets? Bring on those bullets. Lay them down. Thank you. Okay.
That was multiple. That was like the end of Bonnie.
All right. That'll cover the late bullets for the next few bullets. Okay.
What do we got for bullet point number 4? We got Republican senators are on the lam.
Right.
Why?
Okay. Put 2 minutes on the clock, producer. All right. Thank you for that fast shot as well. All right. So there was a vote that just came up, HB 2020, a greenhouse gas emissions vote in the Oregon Senate. Now, the problem is a lot of these senators jammed on the entire agenda for funding for the state of Oregon, which is the problem. And there's been some big protests up at the Capitol right now. They brought in, I think, the National Guard. But they said, look, enough is enough. This carbon cap bill is unfair. So they left, and the governor sent out the police to find it, and they're still missing Michael Loftus. So we can talk more about that, but that's the framing.
If I get this right, you've got the conservative senators in Oregon. They're just going to disappear so that no vote can be taken.
Right. Yeah, they went AWOL rather than sit with the nature of it, which is a device. But is it a conservative? Is it a noble device within our? I mean, do we just go missing to avoid? Because, by the way, the deadline is tomorrow for the end of legislation period. So they should appear.
I don't like it when politics is decided like this. I really don't.
Right.
I don't know enough about the bill. This could be the worst. It probably is the worst.
Well,
bill.
I'll tell you what it was. The emergency clause was their issue. They said, hey, it had an emergency clause in there, so it would not go to the people to decide its fate. It was being rammed through by climate emergency. So that's a pretty big issue. It's how we work with the world is ending. It's been on our show for months.
Well, can't they go to the people? Isn't there another way to solve this problem than just like, we're not going to vote, we're going to run away and run out the clock? It just seems, I don't know. But I'm sure these people know more about this issue than I do. They know more about how the Oregon, Senate works and all this other stuff. It just seems, if you're right, you don't run away. It goes against everything I believe.
Well,
you stay and fight.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're there and they can have a vote, then they outvote you.
It's like a nuclear option. So if it goes beyond a legislative deadline, it has to have a 2/3 vote to win. So that's what the game they were playing. So you're saying our politicians should play within the rules, even if it's a core issue.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think so as well. You
That's
can't pat on the back. I mean, I'm glad they stood up for it in such an ultra climate change agenda state.
Yes.
But you bring up a good point. Michael Loftus.
We are way over, but I did get to the picture of the snow bunnies.
Because it's the coldest summer on record. So why not put some snow bunnies in there in an homage to the LoftusParty.com.
We have to. We got bullet point number 5 coming up. What you got, Judd Dunning?
Okay, each week we try to talk about something that relates to, the bottom line in the United States of America is about the Constitution, 39 amendments, and 130,000 pages of laws. And that is what constricts our freedom. So Mike and I try to bring up something that affects our laws and our freedom. This week's issue is the Bladensburg Cross. So there was the Supreme Court voted a religious freedom vote as it related to religious symbols in our society. Let's put 2 minutes on the clock.
Okay, so I guess people don't like this cross that's been up since World War I.
It's been up for 91 years.
Since World War I.
Right.
Now somebody has a problem with the cross.
Right.
And the Supreme Court says the cross can stay.
Yeah, it's funny. When it went through the appellate courts, which is great, is they actually got to the point and said, well, why don't we just cut the arms off the cross so we can leave the cross symbol as to all the veterans, because that's why it stayed. It had dual historical purpose as a cross.
Okay, I'm getting mad.
You're getting mad.
Yeah, I'm getting mad.
Cutting the cross.
No, just thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that. And I'm just gonna guess. I'm just gonna guess that it was some godless heathen who was offended by this.
It's okay
right?
to say godless heathen.
Right?
It's American.
Right? It's just some guy. What do you call those people who don't believe in anything?
A secularist, moral relativist.
No, it's always there is no God. It's what is the name of those
atheist.
people? Atheist.
Yes.
It's always some atheist dude who's like, no, I feel oppressed. No.
Right.
You know what I'm telling you right now, atheist? I'm glad the cross is still up. I really am.
Yeah.
Because you cannot ignore that it's our rule of law we're based on the 10 Commandments, okay? We have a biblical core to this country.
Right.
Love it or hate it, there it is. The founding fathers. It's all like I don't want government in the church.
Proselytize, brother.
I don't want government in the
true.
church, and I want church in the government. I'm all for a good separation of church and state.
Right.
But you've got this thing that's been up here since World War I. Okay, now it's like a piece of art. It's a piece of the landscape. Supreme Court came to a good decision. Here's what I want to say to all the atheists out there: get a symbol. I want you all to get a symbol that unites you as atheists, and I don't care what it is.
Dennis Rodman.
If it's a baby, bunny,
Right.
it offends me, and I want it out of my sight.
Frisbee. Yes, thank you. So I think Michael, you boiled it down, and in the other element,
I boiled it down to baby bunnies.
Baby bunnies. And
I will not be ignored.
But the good thing is look, Trump has turned the courts to a conservative majority. And the conservative majority is now actually starting to move America in a different direction. That is the power and influence. There's another previous ruling called it was Lemon. It was the Lemon Law at one point, not the actual Lemon versus Kurtzman. And it was when in 1971 we ripped all the symbols out of our culture. Let's bring some of them back. I think this is a fantastic step.
That was the 2 minutes. I got no problem with the cross stand up there because a lot of good people died in World War I.
Jesus,
we could have the cross
on the cross itself, actually.
in World War I.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. All right, probably not.
Okay, we're gonna promote some stuff
Better
now.
study.
We like the promo time. We like the woohoo. Judd Dunning, tell me what's going on. What do the people need to know about what's going on in your crazy world, kid?
Let me tell you what's going on, Michael Loftus. The first thing I want to say is we want to say thank you to Dan O'Brien, who worked on our previous show, Conservative Unplugged. We have a brand new graphics package and our new show look, and he did
That was my second American Indian name, graphic package.
graphic package. You gotta watch. Make sure to scroll back the show. Don't jump forward. That's a great callback right after the interstitial. So. So I'm really pleased we got the show. We're rolling along. We appreciate all the fans coming. We've got thousands of people coming. Some of our shows like 10, 12,000, and we're happy to have you. So thanks for coming to BulletPoints.
I give you the golf clap.
I give you the golf claps.
We're getting nice comments on the Facebook. We're getting nice comments on the YouTube.
Yep.
It's wonderful. And like we just did that story about Google and YouTube dialing down, we're counting on you guys. Tell your friends, share the videos. Said if you think someone might enjoy the show and a good lively conversation about this stuff, let them know. Nothing happens by accident. We're counting on you. That's what I'm going to use my promo time for. Oh, and one more thing. I'm doing live shows. I got the MAGA Country Comedy Show. We're going to be at the Orlando Improv July the 10th. We're going to be at the Tampa Improv July the 11th. Come on out, Florida man.
And women.
You always see that in the news. Like, Florida man goes crazy. I want Florida man to bring his whole crazy family to the MAGA Country Comedy Tour. Orlando, July 10th. Tampa, July 11th.
Now, you did Mar-Lago.
I've performed at Mar-Lago.
Might you go back? Is there any callbacks to
I'd love to go back.
Yeah, okay, we'll just put that out there, Mr. Trump.
Some wonderful things have been happening. I got a call. Somebody reached out the other day about doing a show up in Wisconsin in November. The word, it's happening.
Right.
Powerful forces are at work, Judd Dunning.
I feel it,
People are clicking and sharing and clicking. All right, let's get to our wild card. This is a fun one. I'm liking the picture that I'm looking at. I'm going to click on it. You'll see it up here. Skaboom.
Skaboom?
Yeah. Hollyweed. What is what is going on with that picture, Judd?
Well, you know what's crazy about this is like marijuana is now such a cultural issue in our country. We're doing a pop-up museum.
What?
So if history has great value, do you do a pop-up museum or do you build a long-lasting? So they're testing out whether this is going to be part of our American history by doing a pop-up museum that's going to open August 3rd September 29th in Hollywood. So if you want to go see the history of marijuana, it's $35, about the same cost as a good puff of the old weed. I don't know what weed costs anymore.
Yeah.
And it's coming to town. So 2 minutes on the clock. Thank you very much. I'll just do the sound effect. There you go.
The Museum of Weed is the idea of a stoned person.
It
right?
is.
That's
it is,
someone.
Yes.
That's
Macaulay's Revenge.
Right as they passed the joint, they were like, you know, we should have a museum of weed. And then yeah, we should, man. What could we have? We could have rolling papers.
Mr. Han can come.
We could have bongs.
It'll be awesome.
We could have like rope. From like, it's the worst idea ever.
What's this?
These guys are gonna lose a fortune. They're gonna lose a fortune. And what can be in there?
I don't know if they're gonna lose a fortune. Really, it's a pop-up, man. I mean, it's 420 is like a national holiday. I mean, I'm not pro-weed, by the way. I'm not. It's retarding children's. It's creating developmental issues. Everybody I know is stuck that it smokes weed daily. When they stop, their life takes off. So that's all I know. But there's a lot of people that are loving the weed. They'll do it.
Oh, listen, I got very mixed emotions about
all
this.
people
Here's
with
what I'm
MS or
saying.
cancer should
Here's
go.
my point about the Museum of Weed. What's in there? What's in there? That's interesting.
There's a just say no room.
Right? But like, what else is in there? Because like, here's what stoners love to tell you. You know, the founding fathers had weed. They weren't smoking it. They were making rope, and they were making hemp, and they were using it for like sales.
Going to jazz clubs with their...
Yeah. It's not like Ben Franklin was like, dude, I'm going to put a kite on a cape. No, there's nothing interesting in the Museum of Weed. They could have an entire wing to Cheech and Chong.
They do. They have a reefer madness. They have a war on drugs. I mean, basically, if you have a real drug problem, you go there, you're going to be bummed out. I mean,
listen, if I'm smoking that much weed and it's $35 a ticket, I'm gonna why don't I just have the weed museum in my house?
Okay, now let's get.
You know what? Let's watch some SpongeBob and pretend we're at the weed museum.
Exactly. You don't have to go. You don't have to go.
It's
dude.
a much
go
better
to your
time.
couch, like it's a virtual room. But actually, of course, the real underlying theme is social justice and advocacy. So it takes some liberal folks to take weed and politicize it.
There we go. Yeah. Boom. You just talk about the weed museum and the cops show up. You guys, that is our show. That's Bullet Points. Let us know what you think. Is the Weed Museum a good idea or a bad idea? Judd, would you like to get us out of here?
I'll get us out of here. Thanks for coming. Tell your friends, and we'll see you next week, Bullet Points Nation.